Hey everybody, Eric Dorward here at the Spartan Rocketry Club. Continuing our build of the Estes Black Brant II, and in this video we are going to put together the plastic pieces that we cut out to build, well, I mean it's kind of a motor mount, but it's also a bit decorative, so this should be fun. Let's get rid of some of that sawdust that's left over from me processing the fins and get to work. So these two pieces are all that's left over from cutting that one plastic bit apart, which I'm glad is done. This is the 24mm motor mount. We'll need those centering rings in a moment, but the first thing we need to do is put the block in. So this is pretty straightforward. In fact, this is one of the very few motor mounts that doesn't actually require any measurement or cutting. Well, I mean it did, I guess, cutting there. But all I need to do, according to the instructions, is put some glue just inside the end here, and the engine block, motor block, whatever you want to call it, goes just inside. So I'm going to put it in like this, and I'm just going to turn it upside down and push, and that should be ends even. So that's lovely. I'm actually going to get rid of this paper. Don't really need it right now. Okay, now the next bits. Yeah, so first of all, let's make sure, I'm actually going to grab my pencil here, and I'm going to put a nice big arrow pointing this way. This is the part that has the block in it, just so I don't forget. So this is up toward the air, and this will be down toward the ground. A few things need to happen here. One is that these pieces are going to slide over top. Now this one doesn't go the whole way, it's going to stop because well, there's plastic in there, it's going to prevent it. So that should be pretty straightforward. I'm not going to worry about that too much. What I want to do is I want to make sure I can get these centering rings easily over, so I'm going to test fit them both. That one was nice and easy, so that's great. This one is not as easy, which is kind of unfortunate. I think I might actually put it on the other side, because this, well, yeah. This side is going to be more rigid because it's got that motor block in it. But I do need this to fit nice and easily, so if it's not going to, and it didn't first couple tries, I'm going to grab a little bit of sandpaper and I'm going to sand it a little bit. The last thing I need here is to get halfway through this process and then get just shut down by the fact that one of these fits really nicely and the other one doesn't, which is always kind of annoying. There's always a little bit of deformation or whatever you want to call it. Some of these fit nicely and others don't. So sanding should be your first go-to, and that was good enough. Now it fits quite nicely. Just double check, that fits nicely too. Alright, now the instructions, I have to be honest, they're a little bit confusing, ever so slightly. But, well, I'm missing a piece. I'm missing a little, there you go, should be that guy. That's what I was missing from my selection here, because I did need a piece that goes over top like this, and that's going to fit together like that. So that I actually didn't have out. I needed to go fish it out of the box. Alright, the rest of this, I'm gluing plastic to not plastic for the most part. So the instructions recommend that I go with our good friend plastic cement. I don't love plastic cement. I try to avoid it, but if you are not comfortable using CA glue, you probably should stick to it. Fortunately, this particular bit of construction is not like mission critical. It's frankly decorative more than anything else. Now, again, I want to make sure that I've got I know which end has the block in it. That's why I drew the arrow on it, although, yeah, there's the arrow. So this end is going to go on like this, and I'm just going to test fit all this stuff together right now. Then this bit goes on top, and then this bit goes on like this, and then the two rings that we had here are going to finish off the job. So this is my finished product. It's kind of weird looking, but you know, it'll be fine. A couple spots here are going to have to be either plastic cemented or glued in place with CA glue. And we're going to start with this right here. Now, looking at it, I don't know, I mean, this doesn't actually fit the whole way flush, it just kind of butts up to the end of it, so there's not a lot of surface area here for the glue to get purchase on, which maybe that's a good thing, I don't know. But I'm going to put, again, making sure I have the right end, right, this is the bottom where the motor is going to go. I'm going to put just the slightest bit of CA glue here, just, you know, the thinnest quantity of it, because I shouldn't need much to hold this in place, and there's not a lot of room for it to go anyway. So on it goes. I'm going to push it as hard as I can and make sure that it is centered and it looks pretty great, and that's all the time that it takes for that glue to set. That's it. The next bit is this. This is going to go around the edges like so. Again, I'm gluing plastic to not plastic, so this is another place where I'm probably going to end up wanting the CA glue. Yeah, so I'm going to put the glue closer to the edge here, and again, just going very light because this doesn't need to really hold anything together that's structural. It doesn't need to be strong, it just needs to hold. So honestly, like, this much glue is probably more than I need. I could probably just put a couple little tack spots down and that would be plenty. Alright, watch your fingers back here, because if you squish the glue out the back, you're going to get this stuff right in your fingers, and quick push. I do have some that seeped out, so before anything else happens, I'm going to grab myself a paper towel, tissue, or something. I happen to have paper towels nearby, so that's what I'm going to use. And I'm going to blot up any spots that are sticking out. Blot quickly, of course, because you do not want to glue the paper towel to anything. Alright, that's taken care of. Just be careful not to touch where that seam is, because there's probably some glue there and you do not want to glue your hands to anything ever, certainly not in this case. Alright, the next bit is this needs to go together like this. Again, I'm going to use, maybe I will just tack it this time, so I'm going to put a couple dots of CA glue, you know, spread them out a little bit, but maybe like, I don't know, 4 or 5. Again, watch your fingers here, because this isn't a lot of real estate to work with, and you do not need to get your fingers glued to anything, especially something like this. Alright, line it up, quick push, and it's in place. Again, there are a couple blobs that might come out. If there are, mop them up, and that's great. This is it for the CA gluing for this particular part. So put my CA glue away because I don't need it. Alright, the remaining bits, the 2 centering rings, are just going to slide on like this. And we can do it one at a time, I guess. This is paper to paper, so wood glue is the order of the day. Again, it's not doing anything particularly vital, so you don't need very much. It just needs to hold it in place, and this is a decorative element, so I mean, I probably should spread that out with a dowel, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to put the centering ring right over top. I'm going to spin it a little bit in case it was not particularly even. And then last one, again, just a little bit. You know, wood glue is stronger than you'd think anyway, so you don't really ever need all that much. But considering how low a priority job this is for the glue to hold, it shouldn't make that big a deal. Alright, so this is done. Just to test fit everything, this is going to fit inside the main body tube like this, so it needs to fit in, and that's actually pretty smooth already, so I don't need to worry about that, although it is nice to know that it is going to fit pretty easily by the time we need it. Alright, so that went pretty quickly. The other thing that we can do here, since we're gluing stuff, is we can take a peek at the nose cone. So the nose cone here is a little bit unusual, and that's because, you know, like usually, hey, it's a nose cone, all you gotta do is attach it, maybe cut out that little bit right there. Well, we're not actually going to do that this time because this thing, yeah, it has some decorative accoutrements to it. Now, I don't think I'm actually going to put said decorative accoutrements on this particular this particular part of the rocket right now for a variety of reasons. Honestly, right now, I just want to build it. And we need these two bits right here, and we need one other bit, which is, we're going to cap this off so we do have a hook, place to mount this in. So essentially, well, that's not right. It's going to go together like this, and all this is going to fit over top of the nose cone. The reason that we're doing this is because, there we go, this thing, and this is the weird part, right? You can't actually see this in the box art, but it's got these little, like, I don't know what these are supposed to be. I assume they're some kind of like sensors that the original rocket had, but they're going to stick out like this. And honestly, like, these are basically toothpicks. They look like they've been etched or something, but they are basically toothpicks. I can't begin to imagine how these things are going to survive any speed landing. Like, they're gonna snap. I can't imagine them not snapping. But what the heck, we'll give it a try. But we're not gonna do that this time. We're gonna put the thing together and let it dry, and then we can worry about that. So, in any event, just making sure that we do this properly. The first little bit is we need to glue the big part around the nose cone like so. And this is, again, plastic to not plastic, so plastic cement is the order of the day. I said I was done with the CA glue, but I guess I'm not. I'm going to put the glue, I would typically put the glue on the inside of this tube here, but I have to actually push it pretty far, so I'm not going to do that this time. I'm going to, again, just put the tiniest bit on the nose cone pretty close to where it's supposed to stop. Because again, this is not a particularly vital structure. It's not going to experience a lot of forces on it. All right, so that's good enough. This is going to go on. I have it in place, and a quick push, and maybe a spin, and it's locked in place. Again, if there are any little beads that popped up, mop them up quickly while it's still liquid. I only saw one that time. Okay. That's lovely. I'm going to need this. Well, no, I guess I don't need, well, I will. I will need this, but we'll just put it off to the side for the moment. Now, the next thing I need to do is I need to put the smaller tube inside the bigger tube, and it only goes so far, so that's apparently as far as it's going to go. This is wood to wood or paper to paper, so it's time for a bit of wood glue. Again, not hyper important that we get everything totally right here. But, glue inside. Just push this in. I'm going to spin it around to make sure that the glue is evenly distributed. And there we have it. Okay. Now, the instructions do say that this is the point where I'm supposed to mess around with the toothpicks. I don't really want to mess around with the toothpicks right now. I think I want to let all this stuff dry first, and then I will figure out the fun that will be the toothpicks. So let's cap that. Don't need it for a while. Make sure that's clean. But anyway, this is going to go in like this. This is a very, very loose fit. So the instructions say that I need to put some masking tape around this. So we at least do that now, I guess. I'm going to take my cheap masking tape, the brown stuff, and it says I'm supposed to put, 6 layers. That's a lot. So, I don't know, like this much? Okay. Well, if this doesn't go around 6 times, maybe we'll put on some more, but I don't know. This is a lot to begin with. Probably, it's nowhere near enough. Or nowhere near enough to do 6 passes anyway. So that was 1 pass. That's 2. I want to try to keep this as straight as possible as well. so it's over 3, maybe like 3.5. Let's just see how this fits. Yeah, that's still loose. Okay, they weren't kidding. Do need about 6 passes. I can't imagine how strong this is going to be either as a binding point, but you know, whatever. I'm going to try to line this up pretty closely with where I tore it the first time. Okay, so that's about 4, give or take. So 5-ish. Yeah, this is going to be about 6. Well, we'll say it's good enough. And again, this isn't precise. All we're trying to do here is thicken this up so that, yeah, so we get a reasonably snug fit. It's okay, but not great. It actually should probably have another pass or 2 at it, so let's do that. Another, I don't know, 6 inches or so. Okay. Now there is plenty, you know, I didn't pick masking tape that matched up with the end, you know, how deep this thing was. I don't think that really matters. If you really wanted to, you could probably fold this over on itself. I don't see that as being necessary or, frankly, all that helpful. Alright, it's still a little loose. It could probably stand another pass or 2, but we'll say that's good enough. The more I put on here too, the more difficult it'll be to get in there, just because this, you know, it's not really, it's slightly delaminated. Not that it was ever really laminated to begin with, but that's probably good enough. Alright, so I'm going to leave this like so. The fact that this is going to dry out is probably a good thing, and then at some point I will suffer through the fun that is putting little toothpicks in. Yeah, looking forward to it. Alright, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.